Okay, so sticking with our intro into maths again, you have to be able to do basic stuff. So basic stuff means adding and subtracting. You have to be able to multiply, you have to be able to divide, and you'll have to be able to do simultaneous equations. And in terms of your simultaneous equations, you've got easy simultaneous equations and then ones that are less easy. So for the next few minutes, we're just going to focus on your adding and subtracting and your multiplying. The easy stuff. All right, so So in terms of adding and subtracting is considered easy. You have been adding and subtracting since you have been able to talk, basically, but you just don't realize you're doing it. So in terms of maths and maths questions, if the signs are the same, you just add them, add the numbers, and keep the sign. All right, so that's common sense. That's what we've always done. If there is no sign written down, it means that the number is positive. All right, so if there's no sign, assume it's a plus. So in terms of silly questions, we've got plus 5 plus 4. So plus 5 plus 4 is, yep, you got it, 9, right? And in terms of it being 9, you can write down 9 or you can write down plus 9. Okay, normally you just write the number, you don't write the sign, unless it's a minus, all right? If we have 27 plus 7, so 27 plus 7, straightforward, is 34, and you'd write that down. This one, we have a minus 7 and a minus 6. So in terms of this, the rule is if the signs are the same, you add and keep the sign. So these two signs are the same. There's no brackets written on the question. So this is just plain adding and subtracting. All right, so you've got minus 7, minus 6. So you add your 7 and your 6. So 7 and 6 give you 13. And you keep the sign, so you write down minus 13. For the next one, again, we have two minuses. There's no brackets, so it's not multiplying. So we add them. So 13 and 5 gives you 18. And you keep the sign, so it's a minus. Okay, the next one, we have a minus 7, a plus 6, a minus 2, and a plus 5. Ways you can do it is you can work your way along the sum, doing bit by bit by bit, or you can group the pluses and group the minuses together. So if we were going to group the pluses and minuses together, what you could do is you could have a different color pen, and you could highlight, for example, the minus parts. Right, so here I have a minus 7 and a minus 2. So if I have a minus 7 and a minus 2, the signs are the same. So I just add them. So I would get minus 9. Right, and then for my pluses, I have plus 6 and plus 5. So I just add them and I get plus 11. So now I have a minus 9 plus an 11. So the signs are now different. So for signs being different, so the rule for this is if signs are different, you keep the sign and subtract. All right, so if the signs are different, you keep the sign, and by keeping the sign, you keep the sign of the bigger number, of the larger number. All right, so you keep the sign of the larger number and subtract the other one away. So in terms of this, we have a minus 9 and a plus 11. 11 is bigger than 9, so I'm going to keep the sign of the 11, so I'm keeping the plus. And then I go 11, take away 9, so 11 take away 9 is 2, so my answer would be plus 2. All right, this one, same idea. So I have a 9 plus 5 minus 2 minus 10. So again, my negatives are those two, my positives are these two. So if I go 9 plus 5, the signs would be the same, despite the fact there's no sign written here, it's counted as a plus. So 9 and 5 is 14. So I would write down 14, and that's my plus. And then for my minuses, I have a 2 and a 10. So I get minus 12. And then I go 14, take away 12, which just gives me a straightforward 2. And the last one here, I've got 21, take away 18, plus 5, minus 11. So again, same idea. That's my minuses. That's my minuses. These two are my positive terms. So 21 plus 5 will give me 26. Right? And then for my minuses, I have minus 18, minus 11, which gives me minus 29. right? So then what you do is you go two terms, different signs. So I keep the sign of the bigger number. So I'm keeping the minus this time. And I have 26, take away 29. So I go 29, take away 26, and I get 3. So my answer is minus 3 or negative 3. Okay, and that's normal adding and subtracting just using numbers. And yes, you can do it in your calculator, but it's good to know what's happening in case your calculator is misbehaving, all right, in case you've forgotten your calculator. You have to be able to know what's going on. All right, so with letters, if I just move this up a teeny bit. With letters, so in algebra, you'll be introduced to letters to do your maths. So you can only work with one type of letter at a time. So if we look at the questions I have here, I have 5a, 2a, 2a, and a 3a. There's no brackets here, so I'm just adding and subtracting. So I just go, all the letters are the same, so I can add them like normal. The letter I'm going to keep is just A, all right? And then I add them. So I go 5 and 2 and 2. So 5 and 2 make 7. 7 and 2 make 9. 9 and 3 make 12. So my answer is straightforward, 12a. I didn't have to do any subtracting or anything because they're all pluses. This one, I have a 6a minus 2a and a 3a. So my 6a, there's no sign here, but I know it's positive. So in terms of this, I have a positive and a positive. So my two positives gives me 9a. Then take away 2a, so I get 7a. Right? And you could just write the answer, or you could write the two parts. So you'd have your 9a, take away your 2a, so you know what you're doing. This one I've introduced another set of letters. So I have X's and Y's. So in terms of this, you can only do stuff with the X's or do stuff with the Y's. So if I'm just looking at X's, I have 5x and 6x. So 5x and 6x will give me 11x. And I just write down 11x. And there's no brackets, so there's no multiplying, so there's no interference between your signs. So then I have minus 2y minus 4y. So the signs are the same. So I keep the sign, so it's a minus, and I add them. So I get minus 6y plus another y. So I have a minus 6y plus y. So I get a minus 5y is my answer there. So for what I've done for the minuses, if anyone's unsure, I had a minus 2y, a minus 4y, and a plus y. So I took these two. So the signs were the same. So I got minus 6y for them. And then I had a plus y. And then the signs are different. So I keep the sign of the bigger number, which is my minus, and I subtract. So 6 take away 1 will give me 5. So in terms of this, if there's no sign written down, we assume it's positive. If there is no number written down, we assume it is 1. Okay. And then the last one here, I have 5x minus 2x squared plus 3x. So despite the fact they're all x's, this is x squared, which means an x multiplied by itself. So it is different than just a boring, straightforward x. So I have 5x and 3x, which gives me 8x. And I can't do anything to my x squared, so I just leave it as minus 2x squared. Okay, so that's a quick little recap on adding and subtracting.